On today's episode of Chicago Bears Now, I am going to unveil my projected 53-man roster heading into the preseason. So this won't be the last time we project the roster, but kind of want to just take a step back. Training camp's a few weeks in. Let's see how things sit heading into these preseason games, and then we'll do either one or two more roster projections before the final roster is released. Of course, the preseason opener is on Sunday against Miami, and roster cutdown day is August 26th. So it'll be here pretty quick as these teams have to trim from 90, or in the Bears' case, 91 players down to 53. Now, annual reminder, they implemented this, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. You can designate 2 players for short-term IR before roster cuts on the 26th. So if you know that so-and-so you want to keep on your roster, you don't want to risk cutting him and bringing him back to the practice squad, whatever, if he's dinged up, you can do that for 2 players, and I've chosen to do that on this video, and you will find out who those players are. That way you're not at risk of losing someone, because in the old rules, you could cut somebody, and then they'd get claimed elsewhere. Obviously, that happens for your other players and can't happen, but you can now basically stash up to 2 players if you so choose, noting that they would miss at least the first 4 games of the season. Okay, quarterback. Pretty simple. They're going to carry 3. The only thing to figure out here is if Tyson Bagent or Case Keenum's the backup. I do think it will be Bagent, but that is the only thing they really have to work through at this point in time. So Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, Case Keenum. As we go as well, I will have on these depth charts players who I think could make the practice squad or be on that short-term IR. I do think they'll keep Austin Reed around. I think they like him enough. He will be the practice squad quarterback. Okay, running back. I think I had the same 4 last time. DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson, Kyle Monangai, and Travis Homer, who's obviously a core special teamer. Monangai has been trending up. Roschon Johnson, I think, is going to be their thumper, short yardage guy. And I think these are the 4. We'll see what Ian Wheeler does in the preseason. I think he'll do enough to keep him around on the practice squad. I would guess one of him or Deion Hankins sticks around in the practice squad. Wheeler's got more juice, so I think that'd be a guy they'd want to continue to invest in. But I think quarterback and running back, barring a surprise, I think those 7 players, you're kind of set there. Now, you could make a move for a running back based on a cut elsewhere, or maybe a trade opens up if they want to pair someone with more experience with DeAndre Swift or something like that. But based on who they have, I kind of think those 7 players are on the team, and that's kind of it. I don't think much is going to change there. The only thing that could change or that we still have to figure out, is what the specific roles are, especially for the running backs. Okay, I went a little lighter at receiver. I'm going to go 5. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Olamide Zaccheaus, Luther Burden III, and Devin Duvernay. I toyed with Miles Boykin, who's dealing with an ankle injury. I thought about IR stashing him as well. I don't think it's a serious injury, though, so I'm just going to cut him and try to bring him back in the practice squad. He could get poached. That's certainly a risk. He's been on active rosters before. J.P. Richardson on the practice squad as well, and then John Jackson, I think, sticks around. Him and Caleb are best buds. Decent little practice squad receiver as well. Don't really have an issue with that. You're probably asking, what about Tyler Scott? I think if he gets cut, which I think right now he would, I think there's a decent chance he'd get claimed by another team. He's got good speed. A lot of these teams revisit their draft notes when guys around the league get cut. He was projected by some people to go in the 2nd round. I know he fell to the 4th, but I could see a guy like that on a light wide receiver room or on a rebuilding team getting cut and getting some playing time. It's unfortunate that it hasn't seemed to work out here up to this point. Now, we'll see. We'll see what he does in the preseason, but I think he's a guy that you could see get claimed by another team if he does get cut. So that's why I don't have him on the practice squad. All right, subscribe to the channel. We'll have you covered every single day, any injury updates. We'll do cut candidates, by the way, after the first preseason game. We'll probably do that after every preseason game, kind of take a look at some guys that could be on the chopping block. So do not forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell as well. That way you know exactly when we go live and when we publish new content. Okay, 4 tight ends, but I'm going with Stephen Carlson as the 4th guy. Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland, Durham Smythe, Stephen Carlson. Coming out of OTAs, you probably would have said Joel Wilson, but Stephen Carlson has shown more in training camp up to this point in time. I think for those two guys, the preseason games really could matter a lot. I do think Carlson provides a little bit more than Wilson from a blocking standpoint, so that could give him an edge in that department. And that was the one area we discussed coming out of OTAs. It's like, okay, for Joel Wilson, who had a big OTA period, when the pads go on, can he be physical enough? Can he be someone they can trust to block? And I'm not sure we've seen enough of that up to that point. I do have him on the practice squad. I'm still intrigued by his skill set, but I think Carlson up to this point has had a better camp. Now remember, this is our preseason roster projection. Things can change rapidly here, so that's where things sit for me right now, but that's certainly still up in the air at this point in time. I do think they'll carry 4 tight ends because they do want to utilize 12 personnel, so having a 4th guy makes sense. Okay, let's go offensive line. I got 10 here, so I went lighter at receiver. That gave me more wiggle room at tight end and offensive line. Obviously, Joe Thuney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, your interior guys. Darnell Wright, Braxton Jones, Ozzie Trapillo, Karan Amagaji. Ryan Bates, who's stayed healthy up to this point. I think he's your top interior backup. He's gotten some run with the ones as Jonah Jackson's missed some time. He can also give you some center flex. Luke Newman, who I heard yesterday, CHGO fellows were saying that the snapping has been a work in progress as he's trying to learn the center position as well. But I do think he sticks around, gives you some depth at guard, the 6th-round pick. And then Theo Benedet, I think a surprise, has a chance to make this team. He's even gotten occasional work with the ones, but I think he sneaks on there. Now, that does kind of mean 5 tackles make the team. So I think you would have to look at Karan Amagaji and or Theo Benedet. Can one of those guys give you run at guard if you need to? So keep an eye on that in the preseason. If you ever see them kick inside, that could be an indicator that they're looking to increase their value in terms of what they can do from a versatility standpoint. Because if you're a backup, you either have to be a pretty solid backup at the position you play, or you at least need to have some position flex. That's how you make a roster on the offensive line as a backup. So just because Benedet's gotten work with the ones doesn't necessarily he will make this team, but if he can show some versatility, then that gives him a shot. I do think the depth offensive line pieces will be earned largely in the preseason. And by the way, I had Bill Murray as a short-term IR stash. He's got an ankle injury right now, so if he's banged up through the preseason, I could see them stashing him because he's shown some promise. Kind of a way to just sneak a guy through. That way you don't have to risk losing him on roster cuts. Okay, get yourself a Caleb Williams jersey, $80 for a limited time only, 20% off. Normally they're $100. Right now they are $80. Do not miss this opportunity. You can also get them in the orange jerseys as well. Chatsports.com/Caleb jersey. Link is in the comments and description of this video. $80, 20% off, limited time only. Represent QB1. Okay, let's go to the defensive side of the football. The left side, pretty much all guys who are going to play a lot. Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett, Javon Dexter, Andrew Billings, Dio Adengbo. I think Austin Booker is relatively safe. I think he's on this team. I went to Tanoh Kpassagnon over Daniel Hardy, over Dominique Robinson as that other edge rusher. Chris Williams, Shamar Turner. Turner could be a short-term IR candidate depending on how his ankle injury progresses, so keep an eye on that. Some notable cuts include Daniel Hardy, Zach Pickens, and Jonathan Ford. Now, in terms of who sticks around on the practice squad, I have Jonathan Ford back. He gives you a true backup nose tackle for Andrew Billings. Obviously, Dexter's going to play some nose as well, but he's got more versatility to move around. I do have Dominique Robinson back on the practice squad, and Xavier Carlton, the rookie UDFA, who has some position flex, can kick inside occasionally as well. Daniel Hardy back in the practice squad as well. No Zach Pickens, kind of like Tyler Scott, 3rd-round pick 2 years ago. Maybe a team claims him, or maybe the Bears just punt on that development and just kind of take the L there and move on. So we'll see what happens there. But kind of like the depth offensive line spots, depth edge spots in particular, those are up for grabs. Certainly Daniel Hardy could make this team. So could Dominique Robinson, Austin Booker, Tanoh Kpassagnon competing for spots. Those are the 2 I went with. And I still think that adding an edge at some point is very much in the cards, at least could be. In terms of that position. Okay, linebacker. 5 guys, I think kind of like quarterback, running back. This feels pretty set. TJ and Tremaine, your main starters. Noah Sewell, who looks like your third linebacker right now. Certainly Ruben Hippolyte's going to be on the team, and so is Eamon Ogbongbemiga. He'll play a lot of special teams, and those are your 5. I got Carl Jones on the practice squad as the 6th linebacker. He was on the P squad last year as well. You could go with the Sways Bowman or a Power Zekel for your practice squad linebacker, but I think that's where they'll sit. They could go 2 practice squad linebackers. Obviously, would have to peel back from another position if they do that, but a possibility nonetheless. 6 corners, and this is a tough one right now, how to navigate through the cornerback position. Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Kyler Gordon, your projected starters, although Tyreek has not earned that necessarily yet. Nashawn Wright, I think he's pretty safe for a roster spot now. He's competing for a starting role. I think Terrell Smith makes this team. And then we know Josh Blackwell's on the team, one of the best special teamers on the team. Your backup nickel and has return ability as well at both kick and punt returner. I've got Nick McLeod, a veteran DB, sticking around on the practice squad. He could be a guy that signs elsewhere. You never know. And then Zay Frazier, I'm going to place on short-term IR. Again, you have those 2 spots. He's been away with a personal issue. So I just think there's a lot of competition at corner right now, but they drafted him in the 5th round. They like his skill set. I think that's a guy that you stash, and maybe he gets activated later on. We'll see what happens over the next couple weeks, but if he's not back, it's going to be tough if he misses all of preseason. Are you just going to put him on the 53? I would use one of those 2 spots for Zay Frazier. Okay, safety now. I'd be shocked if it was anything else. Major Burns, Tyson Johnson, they've had their moments, but Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Elijah Hicks, and Jonathan Owens are your 4 safeties, and then your 2 practice squad guys. I do think you keep 1 or 2, and I kept both rookie UDFAs, Major Burns, Tyson Johnson. You could keep a guy like Alex Cook if you wanted to, but I'm going to go with 2 rooks who have flashed at times during training camp. Then your specialists, Cairo Santos, Torrey Taylor, Scott Daly. Obviously, you have Luke Elkin, the other long snapper. Maybe there's a surprise there. I'd be shocked, but maybe Jonathan Kim boots Cairo off the team, but that would be pretty stunning at this point. He has a bigger leg than Cairo, but unless he's consistently making his kicks as often as Cairo, I don't see how they take that risk at this point in time. Okay, name a player that I cut that you're rooting for to make the team. There's some tough cuts, man. I mean, receiver, I had a couple. Certainly in the trenches, had to make some tough calls as well. So if there's a player that I cut that you're rooting to make the 53, let us know who that is. And just to kind of consolidate all the practice squad players, I did end up with exactly 16. Chances are they'll poach some from other teams as well. But Austin Reed, Ian Wheeler, Miles Boykin, J.P. Richardson, John Jackson, Joel Wilson at tight end, Doug Kramer, Jordan McFadden, who have some flexibility there on the offensive line. Jonathan Ford, a backup nose tackle. Xavier Carlton, who can move around the defensive line. Daniel Hardy, Dominique Robinson coming off the edge there as well. Carl Jones, Nick McLeod, Major Burns, and Tyshim Johnson. Those are my 16 practice squad players, projected practice squad players as we get ready to kick off the preseason. So again, we'll do this at least 1 more time before the final roster is revealed. Probably 2, though. Maybe we do it after the 2nd preseason game, and then again after the 3rd, and then obviously we'll reveal the real roster on August 26th. Thanks to everybody who made it to the end of the video. If you did, that makes you a real one. If you want to support the show, hit that subscribe button. And as always, bear down.